West Africa and Indonesia.
Yeah, yeah.
And
we have
and
two,
I
three
and
camps.
and I will be and before and before turn 3 or 4, when it will be decisive where I go, I will get this intel, because
Yeah.
I will see either some movement in Central Russia, or I will see some movement from Australia, and I think I will get a decent position from this, unless of course you counter Africa. That's always a risk, right? So.
Yeah.
Uh, well, I could of course go 1 West Africa, 2 West Russia, and 3 in Central Russia, and then go 4, 5, 6, like 4 Indonesia, and 5 like I don't know really, East China
Yes,
even,
but
or
if you
something.
get countered in Russia, you basically lose the game, because you will have 9 income for a long time.
Okay, but
For example, if I pick 1, 2 Antarctica, Australia, and 3, 4, 5 Russia, I will be in ahead, I think.
Okay, so maybe we didn't discuss that 1, 2 in Antarctica, Australia, because that's the kind of board where there are really very hard counters to every single strategy. Like if we go like 1, 2 in Australia, Antarctica, there is a very hard counter from South Africa.
I think
if someone
it's
goes,
pretty hard to find best strategy here.
Which one? Pretty hard. Yeah. Of course, it's. I mean, the best strategy is here, and the best strategy here is, of course, to try to find those optimal strategies for every plan that's possible, and use one of them a certain percentage of the time. So, yeah, I'm wondering 1, 2 in Australia and So you think that a strategy like 1 in Antarctica, 2 in Australia, or 1 in Australia, 2 in Antarctica, with 3, 4, 5 around Russia, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So again, that maybe I'm trying to return to my original idea of 1 in West Africa, 2 in Indonesia, and then 3 and 4 around West Russia, Central Russia, and then my 5th pick in Southeast Asia. And my idea basically is that if I get if someone goes 1, 2 in Russia, I will get probably my picks 1, 2, and 5. So I will get West Africa, Indonesia, and Southeast Asia. So I'll maybe even try to go for 12 in 2 turns. And long term, I'll just go for Indonesia, Southeast Asia, and West Africa, going for that 16 income, and I will have great counterplay via Iran or Xinjiang attacking Russia. And if someone goes fully like if someone goes 1, 2, 3 around Australia, I will either have part of it Indonesia, or I won't, and I will have both West Russia and Central Russia. Or if I get my first 3 picks, then it's probably the trickiest option, because I have no intel, but I think I still have a decent chance, because I can expand in Indonesia safely, and he cannot take Australia that fast. Because if I get my 1, 2, and 3 West Africa, Indonesia, and West Russia, then when can he really be? Potentially he might have chosen a very similar strategy, and he might have a very bad pick in Southeast Asia. But most likely, probably 80% of scenarios when I get 1, 2, 3, he will have Antarctica, Australia, plus Central Russia, and we only have to figure out what happens here. And I believe I will have the time to finish Indonesia, because I really don't think that. It is a little bit tricky, because they can try to go for very early elimination. Like if he has Antarctica, Australia plus Central Russia, he can attack Omsk or Dudinka first turn very hard and threaten elimination. But I think he still can expand. It is a little bit tricky, but I think it works quite well versus other strategies. But I don't know. What do you think about this?
Yeah, and Vidic from the chat suggested to triple pick in Russia. What do you think?
To what? To pick?
1 West Russia, 2 Central Russia, and 3 Caucasus.
1 to 3. Oh.
Yeah.
Huh. Well, I don't like it. I don't like it for a very simple reason. If I just auto lose against any strategy that goes 1-2 in Russia, and I think that those strategies are viable on this particular map. So 1 to 3 here. It is. That is very tricky. Well, first of all, it loses to what I suggested, right? Because I suggested 1 in West Africa, 2 in Indonesia, and then 3, 4, 5 with 5th pick in Southeast Asia. So I will get Pakistan versus Tajikistan. And wait, do I lose? Yeah, it does lose definitely, because I can just finish Southeast Asia safely, and he will. Yeah, I think so. And also versus West Russia, of course, if there's no one in Southeast Asia, you should be in a good position. But I really don't think it's a good idea, because first of all, you lose to the hard counters, which are counters from Southeast Asia or maybe Scandinavia if someone is very creative, and you lose to soft counters, which are strategies that just involve picking 1 and 2 in Central Russia and West Russia. So if I really want to, I would just go for yeah, just go 1-2 in West Russia, Central Russia, and 3rd pick in Antarctica. Just makes more sense to me. Like, I don't know, 1 West Russia, 2 Central Russia, 3 Antarctica, 5 Australia, 6 South Africa. Sorry, 5 South Africa. 3, 4, 5.
Yeah.
Something like that.
I think it's a very tricky scenario anyway, because I think you will end up with 12 income in 3 or 4 turns.
That 1 to 3 around. Yeah, I really. You know, I would maybe like it a little bit more if the picks, the starting points in Central Russia and West Russia were connected to each other, like Dudinka and Ufa, for example. Because then, at the very least, if you split your first 2 picks and you get your 3rd pick in Caucasus, I think you're not lost, because the proximity of your initial starting spots, like Dudinka and Ufa, forces a lot of deployment into West Russia, and you can actually try to trick your opponent into eliminating you from Russia, and then using your spot in Caucasus as a counter. So, yeah. So I really don't think it's a very decent choice. I mean, it is playable. You will win some % of the time, but the more I think about it, the more I like what I suggested. So. 1 in West Africa, 2 in Indonesia, and then 3 and 4 in Russia, and 5 in Southeast Asia. It really looks like a really good synergy to me.
Yeah, I think
I will lose some % of the time, because I think what you suggested also, countering West Africa, should also be played some % of the time, because there are so many strategies that would involve 1st pick in West Africa.
Okay, I think we can move on in picks
of
the player.
So I'll start with Summer's picks.
Okay.
Okay, so she played 1 in Antarctica, 2 in West Africa, and 3 in Central Russia. Okay, so I haven't even mentioned that kind of strategy, because I think that there are strategies similar to that are just purely better in many cases. And here I really don't like it for a very simple reason, and that very simple reason is I have no idea whether my opponent is in Australia or not. So I have no idea if I will get countered from Scott or not. and more importantly, against strategies that involve first pick in West Africa, I think I'm in a very tough spot because I have to expand blindly.
Yeah,
That pick
because I can.
that pick 4 is kind of. I'm trying to figure out. I guess her idea was maybe she didn't want to play to take 3 and 4 both in West Russia, and then maybe she wanted to get maybe 1 4 and 5 or 2 4 and 5. Can you even get 2 4 and 5? I don't think so. No, you cannot. So
You cannot.
you cannot. So I cannot. So one. So probably her idea was to get 1 3 and 5, maybe.
Or 1 4 and 5, but it's very unlikely.
Yeah. I really, in general, when we're discussing all those strategies, we have to know how they fare against each other, and that kind of strategy, I think it limits your possibilities because first of all, your first pick in Antarctica, you have no intel on Australia. Your third pick in Central Russia, you have no idea whether someone is in West Russia. And if why pick Central Russia over West Russia? I don't understand because West Russia has a comparative advantage over Central Russia, if anything, because you already border Central Russia from the start. So that's I really see many strategies that you auto lose against. Like for example, if you lose your first pick and you lose Australia and your opponent is in West Russia, and you get 2 3 and 4, for example. Getting 2 3 and 4 in my opinion would be absolutely terrible. Yeah,
I kinda dislike those picks. I think I agree with you.
I mean, let's try to find some improvements. For example, it really feels like picking first pick in West Africa is already an improvement because I think it's far less likely for your opponent to counter West Africa than to counter Antarctica, and because Australia is not. It's not like a hard counter because before we were discussing a hard counter from South Africa, and maybe I'll have to explain what I mean by soft and hard counter, because a hard counter is counter that really commits. And for example, if you pick South Africa blindly off, or you pick 3 4 and 5 around Antarctica and you pick South Africa, it's a hard counter because you cannot really transition out of it because your pick in this wasteland is completely useless. And so by soft counters I meant counters that are viable strategies in terms of expansion and also counter your strategies. And here the pick in Australia is a component of many viable strategies, so you should expect at least some percent of the time your opponent to be in Australia, and if you have no intel on it, you don't have the tools to properly react. So if you get your picks 1 2 and 3 or 2 3 and 4 or 1 3 and 4, those are, I think, the most likely scenarios. I believe you are in a bad position because first you're very likely to split Central Russia and West Russia, and you will get the worst end of it because the position you have in Central Russia against West Russia is bad, as opposed to getting West Russia versus Central Russia. The position in Antarctica, well, you probably will be forced to expand blindly because you have no intel on Australia. And, well, West Africa is your best bet to expand in, so maybe that's a saving grace. But if you lose your second pick, I believe it's very hard. So, what would you add to this? Because
I think one in Antarctica is just bad because I think if I would pick one bit in the south, I think Australia would be just better because I think I rather have Australia than Antarctica because the position of the territory and distribution in Antarctica is pretty bad for play against Australia.
well, Oh, so you'd say you would pick Australia over Antarctica?